Hello and welcome to a special bonus extra video from the Disney Animated Canonball.
Not the Disney Animated Canonball, but an incredible simulation.
Exercise in pure podcasting.
Oh no, it's expanded universe content.
Yes, that'll do. This is the midquel of the Disney Animated Canon.
That is not true. That will not be a sequel.
That's true. So the Disney Animated Canonball is a podcasting project between myself, Talon Lee, he, him,
and me, I'm Foxley, she, her.
Where we watched, through the course of various lockdowns, because of the news, a set of the Disney Animated Canon. All the movies that I hadn't seen growing up, because I grew up in a cult, and all the things that Fox had seen way too much of, because she has brainworms.
And because we had a set of VHS tapes. And fuck if I was gonna get movies actually bought for me as a child. When one could obtain them for free with a watermark.
Yeah,
I was genuinely astonished to find we'd only done about a year of this. It felt so much longer.
It was longer, but they got published over the course of exactly 1 year.
Oh, right, we did the first one well before we started publishing them.
Yeah.
For a second I was like, did we time travel? And you didn't tell me?
The first season of the podcast was released in July 2021, but it had been recorded in, August 2020.
Yeah.
Because there was a gigantic gap around Bambi.
Yeah, I think it was Bambi.
Yeah. Anyway, we always thought that we should probably do something like this once the Canonball was behind us.
It kind of lends itself to a tier listing, doesn't it?
Yeah. Now, the astute of you might know that Fox has an animated avatar, and I have an animated avatar.
Sure do.
And on screen, you might see those animated avatars not animating. Because you have no idea how awkward this setup is already for sound purity.
Oh, short version. We're sharing the same audio track. It's nearly impossible to get a clean visual feed for either of us.
Basically, it'd be just too hard. That's it. It's just too hard.
Too hard.
Anyway, so what we're going to do is we're going to go through the entirety of the Disney Animated Canon in one short, I hope, video. And say where we rank them on our personal tier lists from S rank all the way down to F rank.
Because apparently there's no lower rank than F.
Well, I mean, you can name these ranks as you want, but I'm using the one that the website starts with. For those not familiar with fight game parlance, there's your 4 basic tiers of A, B, C, D, which all are meant to represent reasonably close proximates to one another. Then you have F tier for failures, and you have S tier for special, or star, or superior. To use Pokemon as an example, in original Pokemon, Snorlax and Mewtwo were both considered to be the S tier. Every team needed them.
Snorlax.
Anyway, now we're going to go through these all from the first movie all the way to the last. You ready, Fox?
I am. I'm just going to put a little note here, because the one thing we agreed upon how we would rank these is that it's going to be personal feelings. I struggle a lot with, this one has more, objective merit than I personally enjoy about it, but we decided that has no place in this discussion. This is just about how we feel.
Yeah, and in my case, I redid my tier list when we found out that on my first pass, out of 64 movies, I had 52 in F. I don't think Disney are very good at making movies.
I didn't have too much of a problem dividing mine up, because even though, the majority of these I wouldn't enjoy watching again, necessarily, I'm fine without them. But there's a definite difference in quality between the shittest of the shit and the just mildly shit.
First up, 1937, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Snow White, well, it's groundbreaking, but it's also boring, so I put it solidly in the middle of my D tier.
It is also in my D tier. It is an afternoon special missing a third act.
It doesn't age well. The fact that it comes from 1937 is very apparent. It's just pretty naff by today's standards.
It's technologically amazing. It did what it did with the tools it had.
Absolutely revolutionary.
The story sucks, the characters suck, and I don't want to watch it.
Yep. That's
Pinocchio!
Pinocchio is one position earlier than Snow White for me, so riding right in the middle of D tier.
Pinocchio is squarely in the F tier for me.
Ooh, you just like this one a lot more. I kind of forgot how much we hated Jiminy Cricket, didn't I?
Horrible, moralizing little shite.
Yeah, it's
Rampant
true.
child abuse. Intense Protestant work ethic bullshit.
Man.
The whale as an expression of capitalism's designs on nature. Like,
No, I wish I had put it lower down.
Pinocchio is a terrible movie and a terrible story.
Oh god, I forgot about the racist caricature.
Yeah, I didn't even have to get to that.
Ah, shit.
Yeah, and the way that the movie is so badly written, they handbrake turn it, and they go,
They
all right,
do.
let's reset the movie.
Damn it. Yeah, I should have edited it.
Yeah.
I was thinking too well of it.
Yeah,
It's been too long since I rewatched it.
I'm sorry for reminding you that the magic of Disney is mostly bullshit. Fantasia!
Fantasia, I still quite like. It is interesting and artistic and holds up a lot better than most of the old Disney stuff. But it's only about half really good, and the other half is very kind of ugh. So, it's still in D tier for me, but it's right at the beginning of D tier.
It is, in fact, top tier C tier for me.
Ooh, there you go.
I think the fact that it doesn't bother trying to do much in the way of storytelling and is just a technical exercise really helped it.
Yeah, it definitely benefits from that.
It's still got a whole bunch of 1940s moralizing in it, but the music is all very good music. The technological elements involved are all very impressive, and they had to invent stereo sound for theater production.
It is. Well, yeah, and, like, objectively, it's quite amazing, but
And you got to see a
I
titi.
really hate fat drunk baby Dionysus.
Yeah, absolutely.
Makes me very unhappy.
That's the second worst segment in the movie.
I do like most of the rest, but that's really pulling it down for me.
And that movie also has
I do also really dislike the announcer.
Oh yeah, good point. That guy's got a really unpleasant manner. and like the movie does technically end with Ave Maria, audio chloroform, but
Yes.
still it has Rites of Spring, it has some really good dinosaurs.
It's a pretty sequence, at least. Mostly the Ave Maria pisses me off because it's the English version, which is for cowards.
Dumbo!
I understand that Dumbo is not a very good movie. I still love Dumbo. Because
Well,
this was so much a part of my heart as a child. So this is a B-tier movie in recognition of its obvious problems, but it's still... Yeah, I can't think badly of it. I just can't. I'm sorry.
C tier. I actually think of the... See, the big thing is a lot of things ran up on my D tier, and then I looked at the D tier and said, alright, in all fairness, which of these movies here is as bad as the worst of the movies here? And Dumbo's not that bad. Dumbo's definitely racist. Holy crap, is it racist. It sucks that its main cast features no women of agency. But also, it doesn't overstay its welcome. It plays with its music really well. Like, the musical sequences are all good, which is equally one of the most frustrating things about The Crows.
They are really good, yeah.
That music number is really quite good. And then you have the added wrinkle that Pink Elephants on Parade was so good, we kept seeing other movies they
We
did
did,
try
yeah.
and do it. So,
They knew
like,
they had something there.
Dumbo gets kind of like a landmark pass, I guess.
Yeah.
Not to forgive its racism in the slightest bit, by the way. It's just
No.
like, that's why it's higher in my rankings than the others. Like, it's not... Like, I said that Snow White is an afternoon special without a third act. So's Dumbo, but
So's-
Dumbo's,
yeah.
like, on those streets, Dumbo is obviously a league better than Snow White to me.
Yeah, well, I mean, more happens, at least, and several characters are likable.
Bambi!
Bambi, I ummed and ahed about Bambi for so long.
That must have been so hard for you.
Bambi is visually lovely in a lot of ways, but I just don't like it very much.
Yeah, that tracks.
Like, it's nice to look at a pretty animal movie, but it's just kind of bland, and all of the gender stuff is rude. That is some boomer-ass women be bad news bullshit.
Ooh, it's fucked up.
And the whole absentee dad thing, I D-tiered this.
D.
Yeah, hey! Is this the first time we matched? No, wait, we both put Snow White here as well.
Yep. Saludos Amigos, 1943.
F.
I also put Saludos Amigos in F tier.
Look, I appreciate that they were doing something, and it's nice to see Disney not just being white America for white Americans all the fucking time, but this is a compilation musical pretending to be a feature-length movie, and not in an interesting artistic way like Fantasia is. It's just funny bird slapstick, weird live-action mashups, and horny bird nonsense. It's not good.
My bad, I actually have it in my D tier.
Ah, well.
Because I think there is a marked step down in quality between Saludos Amigos and and some of the other compilation musicals. Like, I can very tangibly, I can very easily order those from best to don't care.
Yeah, it might be the best of them, I'll give it that.
Well, yeah, anyway. Next up, Three Caballeros.
That's right under Saludos Amigos, because it's basically the same movie, but the birds are hornier.
Right ahead of Saludos Amigos for me, because the three characters give it a sense of continuity, and I like some of the songs.
That's fair enough, it's fair enough. I cannot get over the gross horny bird stuff. That is the one where Donald Duck air raids women on a beach. It's
true, it's terrible. On the other hand, three happy chappies with snappy serappies it's a good rhyme. I like it.
Hey, there's some good music and a lot of else.
Make mine music.
I'm okay. Spoiler: I put all the compilation musicals in F tier.
Yeah.
F. Even if they have individual merit of higher than 0, they're not good at being movies because they're not movies. So.
Melody Time.
F.
Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad.
Melody Time is in fact the worst of the compilation musicals, because it has the worst segments.
And The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad.
Yeah, that's down here as
also
well.
F.
What a nothing movie!
Yeah, I F on all three of those.
It's like the ending scenes of 2 movies that they couldn't get completely made. It's a sad time for Disney, and I have some sympathy for them, but on the other hand, they're a capitalist empire, and Walt Disney is awful, so also fuck them.
And now for some contentious ones. Cinderella from 1950.
Where did I Cinderella? It is solidly in D tier for me.
F.
It's fine.
It's got a dog.
The dog doesn't really do anything. It's in D because it is not especially offensive to me. Mm-hmm. I don't need to ever watch it again. There's nothing in it I find particularly compelling, except I guess I enjoy the animation on Evil Stepmother, who I noted as being like a proto-Frollo. Fucking 40 years sooner. Yeah, none of that makes me actually interested in watching the movie ever again, so it's like, yeah, alright, you're in the broadly inoffensive tier.
It's fantastically boring.
It really belongs in a... I really should have ranked Pinocchio worse. I'm steaming about that now. I'm all salty.
Well, that's one of the fun things about these tier lists is that if they could be done live easily, you would be...
I could be talked into the change.
Absolutely, but in this case,
he's right.
We made the decision to set our choices beforehand and to discuss them afterwards, and then, together, we're going to provide a final, agreed-upon tier list for any clearly and obviously, I forgot about that moments. Alice in Wonderland, 1951.
Yeah, it's just ahead of Cinderella.
Yeah, it's Cinderella too.
Don't need to see it again.
Peter Pan, 1953.
I dislike this as much as I expected to. I didn't quite give it an F, so it's just another D tier filler for me. It barely scrapes by as being almost inoffensive. It's not inoffensive.
No, it's fucking vile.
Because of the Native Americans, but...
and the cannibals, and the Turks,
oh God,
and the mermaids, and the way women hate women, and Tinkerbell's treatment of Wendy. This is in my D tier, and it's only in my D tier because I have to accept that Smee is animated wonderfully. Which is to say, Milt Kahl is single-handedly dragging this up and out.
And they're unnecessarily cruel to that dog.
Oh yeah, dog cruelty as well. Yeah,
this is right down near the bottom of my D tier.
Yeah, it is a shockingly racist movie, and the only reason it's not in my F tier is because I wanted to make sure that more personal and petty hatred could fill the F tier.
I really need an extra tier for personal hatred, because, like, the compilation musicals I don't resent the way that I resent some of the later stuff on this list.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk about that later.
Lady and the Tramp, 1955.
This also has some obvious racist bits, but they're not nearly as bad as, say, Peter Pan.
Yeah.
And they're not enough to sort of seriously compromise my enjoyment of that. As long as I can watch it with the understanding that they were on some shit. Lady and the Tramp is a B-tier movie for me. I quite liked it on the rewatch. It still looks fantastic, surprisingly so.
B-tier. I in fact agree.
Movie. It's a movie about a hero dog.
This is a great example of how this movie doesn't need anything added to it to make it much better. You can cut Cyan Am's song, and the movie just loses a large portion of its problems. Now, part of the problem is that the movie thinks, hey, we could absolutely include that song, and that's okay. But a lot of other stuff in this is just like weird products of its time, like the fact that they're terrified of parasites on their baby because widespread antibiotics aren't a thing at that point in history. It's a real, like, that kid wasn't getting vaccinated.
When you put it like that. I also had a recently in childhood friend of ours mention to me afterwards that the thing with like taking a vacation immediately after the baby, just totally ditching on it, might have been like a 1950s, oh yes, you go on a post-baby vacation, which is code for you try and avoid postnatal depression.
Oh, yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah, that would explain a lot.
Next up, I think this is going to be one of our first big contentious disagreements. Sleeping Beauty.
Yeah, Sleeping Beauty I B-tiered as well. I understand why other people find it boring.
Yeah.
But this is also something that I grew up with almost as much as Dumbo, and it wasn't my favourite, but it still has, like, lines imprinted on my brain, and I enjoy the comedy and how stupid all the characters are, and how magnificent Maleficent is as a visual and voice exercise as a villain.
I D-tiered it as an overall movie product. I found it very boring. But it has some truly amazing steps forward in it. Like the prince has a personality and a 7-year age gap, which but there's a lot of stuff in there that basically I expected that I would be negotiated upward after talking about it with you. And as a bonus point, the Sleeping Beauty episode of the podcast has the best stinger.
Aw, thanks.
Yeah.
I don't feel the need to try and negotiate you upwards. This is, I think your judgment of it is completely fair, and my attachment to it is mostly sentimental.
Maleficent does have fuck you skeleton energy, though.
Oh, totally. She's the first major resurgence of fuck you skeleton energy. She set a fucking tone for these going forward.
101 Dalmatians, 1961.
Can't believe I put a dog movie lower than so many other things.
I know!
It's just surprisingly bad for a dog movie. Like, I want to like this so much more than I do.
F tier.
I seed it.
Yeah. I put it in the F tier on the simple basis that it's boring. Like, see, the thing is, I've been listening to this podcast ever since the episodes go up. I just re-listen to our podcast.
You're reminded of your opinions.
And especially it helps me double check for editing mistakes. And by the way, some of the ones that got away from me, whoo, that's embarrassing.
Look, shit happens.
But in the case of the 101 Dalmatians, that podcast, the only thing in that whole episode that's interesting is me talking about voice talent for 7 minutes. Anyway, Sword in the Stone.
Boy, this was just never good, was it?
No, this movie was dog shit. F tier. Fuck this movie.
Where's mine? I D'd it.
Yeah.
I don't hate it. I just don't like anything about it. Except the squirrel. The hot squirrel we're meant to want to fuck is kind of cool.
That is also the origin where we first used the phrase in the podcast of, this is the thing you're meant to want to fuck.
No, surely not. Did I not use it when Fantasia came up with the sexy eye fish? Was that a separate meme? Just the sexy fish meme?
Yeah. It's because there was also a sexy fish in Pinocchio.
There was, yes.
Alright, now we have, after Disney's Lifetime, The Jungle Book, 1967.
After Disney's Walt.
Yeah.
Sorry.
After he's waltzed his last Disney.
It's like Maltese.
You'll come a waltzing a Disney with me.
Oh, God.
Yes, Jungle Book.
Right. This is one of the few movies I was surprised to like more than I thought I was going to on the rewatch.
Yep.
Just because of some fucking delightful animation and voice work.
Yeah.
A lot of really iffy Kipling era racist bullshit.
Yeah.
So these things in my mind sort of even each other out to a C.
Yeah.
Gets a big C stamp. Furry parents are gayer than I remembered.
Yeah. My two furry gay dads. Like, there's a lot of skeleton. Like, imagine if Tumblr had been a thing in 1967. The fan work for Jungle Book and just this extravagant.
Yeah, that's true.
At the time, baby Gen X's. Baby flower children. Just like, yes, these two are my gay dads and I love them.
Yeah.
Like,
absolutely.
Here's
my cool, fun bear gay dad and my uptight, sensible cat gay dad.
Also, I don't know if you remember, but this is where you learned that Phil Harris's first name was Wonga.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I guess I see why he wound up calling himself Phil.
This also wound up in the C tier for me because of the same reason that, Dumbo wound up in the C tier. Because I had to look at all the other stuff in the D tier. That's also a lot kind of boring. Like, there is no way for me that I am reasonably going to position Peter Pan and Jungle Book as about the same.
Yeah, that's fair. Definitely fair.
Next up, The Aristocats.
Aristocats is just a shockingly boring movie, isn't it?
There is the extremely racist music number.
Well, yeah, but if you only break boring to be racist, then you're actually worse. I D-tiered this shit.
So
this is very near the bottom of my D tier, because usually if there's something to like in an animal film, I will latch onto it and enjoy myself. But this was so dull.
I put this in C tier.
Ooh! Is this the first one you've ranked higher than me? I think it might be.
I think it might be. Okay, so let me explain. First things first, I listened to the podcast of this episode recently, and the voice talent section is heaps of fun. Also, the discussion of how Edgar fucking dies is also fun. But the other thing is, in this movie, there are a bunch of things that are those tiny steps forward, in the same way that Dumbo is full of these steps forward over Snow White, where, for example, O'Malley hits on Duchess, and then Duchess goes, no, and he's like, okay, and he stops. There's no wheedling, there's no cajoling, it's just, well, I agreed to help you, and you said no to my other, my extracurricular interest, but that doesn't stop me agreeing to help you. It's a really weird example of positive masculinity.
Yeah, it's alright, Your Honor, but I will also remind you that the child cat tries to hit on him.
Yeah, that's not cool. It also has it has the inexplicable dog section that doesn't actually add to the movie.
It's the best bit of comedy in the movie, that's why it's there.
It's true.
We have to have some fucking fun, because everything else that's going on here is just two boring adults refusing to be in a relationship.
This movie did also bring two genuine laughs outside of those moments.
Oh wait, yeah, Rufford.
Sterling Holloway. His mouse.
Yeah, sorry, Rockford, isn't it?
That's right, yeah. Yeah.
Pronouncing my French cheeses wrong.
The first, when he runs out into the night, wearing the suit, wearing the raincoat, yelling.
Yeah.
That's very funny. And also when he tells everyone to shh while he's picking a lock, those two moments genuinely made me laugh. So basically, again, once I had to look at, Three Caballeros and Snow White and Sleeping Beauty and go, no, I would rather watch the Aristocats than those.
Well, that's why I didn't put it in F tier.
Yeah, well, my F tier is crowded, so I needed its space. Alright, Robin Hood.
Instant S tier. No notes. This is, I don't know, I suppose a lot of people resent it for turning half of the millennials in the world into furries, but fuck you.
A tier. Genuinely liked it. Liked a lot of things to talk about it. It's a fun adventure story. And also, while it has the same problem of being an afternoon special, like no single long through line of plot, like if it's made up of 3 half-hour episodes, they're good.
At least it's the same fucking characters.
Yeah.
My love of this movie was a little bit tarnished by our Canonball episode, because it's the first time I'd examined how incredibly American this version.
Crossbows ricochet with a gun sound.
Well, there's that, yes.
That's so American.
But also just everything about, like, taxes, and yes, taxes are something royalty takes from poor people, because poor people are doing the work and make it. Peasants are the ones making money. What the fuck are you guys on? But I still can't, I can't not S-tier this movie. It's magic to me. And that scene where the archery tournament goes to shit, and we just get 10 minutes of slapsticks and Lady Cluck. It's great.
Lady Cluck manages to pull off a gridiron joke, and you enjoy it. Imagine the power of this woman.
Imagine, right?
You also got to learn about the wonderful folk song about the king's dick falling off from STDs.
Also, fucking top tier voice talent in this.
Absolutely,
shit.
Yeah.
I don't know how I've never heard Robin Hood's voice in anything ever again, but
he went back to theatre.
Unarguably, the best Robin Hood after Carry-Owls.
And also, I think I would be willing to say, the best swaggle of the entire Milk Carl era.
Oh, Little John had a lot of swaggle.
Not her. Sorry, not him. Maid Marian. There's a sequence talking to the kids.
Oh, yes! That ladylike swaggle.
She swaggles while laughing.
A rare thing.
Just imagine the sheer animated kind of hubris of no, I'm going to show this person's body moving in 4 directions at once, and I'm going to make her look beautiful doing it.
She also had she doesn't have, the head of hair that your average Disney princess does. She does have the, veil thing going on, which is a significant complication to a swaggle when you think about it. You don't see long-haired characters swaggle.
Yeah. Next up, The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh.
The shit's in F.
Yep.
The best I could possibly say is that maybe you could push it up into D tier. That's about right. You could maybe push it up into D tier if you're, strictly showing it to preschoolers like it is for the littlest of little babies.
I feel that at times if we decided on a more complicated methodology than just a strict A to F kind of ranking system, there should have been a space for not really belonging here, and I would put Dumbo and Snow White and the compilation musicals and Winnie the Pooh here, because, Winnie the Pooh is a bad use of my time as looking at movies, or even looking at things as a fan of traditional animation, because there are other animations of the era that are better, and it's Walt Disney's dick dragged across A.A. Milne's writing, and, it's not remarkable.
Yeah, look, if we had been doing this from an objective point of view, I might have put this as high as a C. But we agreed beforehand it was about personal feelings, and watching this movie actively made me unhappy.
Yeah.
Because it felt so long, and nothing happened, and I wanted it to be over.
It was 60 minutes long, and you said it felt like 2 hours.
It did. Okay.
Moving on. The Rescuers.
This is a very up and down feeling movie. It's so unremarkable. I was briefly excited in our rewatch to discover the alligator piano scene.
The organ scene is so good.
I had overlooked. That's fantastic, but everything else here is pretty dull, really. And also one of our cavalry coming to the rescue.
It's a fucking Confederate soldier.
Is a Confederate turtle, so all of that adds up to this being yet another entry in my D tier. It's slightly above average D, but it's still a D.
It's in my D tier as well. Again, I tried to reserve the F tier for the stuff that made me actively angry. It's just boring.
Yeah, exactly.
And that means we now jump all the way to The Fox and the Hound. Hey, it's the 80s already.
Also, there weren't any worthwhile songs. Fox and the Hound. Fox and the Hound. I have such a complicated relationship with this movie.
I know. I was there for the podcast.
Yeah, I spoke about this at length in the episode, so go check that out if you want the depth of my feelings. But basically, I fell in love with a version of this movie that never existed, and it broke my heart by not actually being that when I finally got to watch it.
But nonetheless, it gave you the most beautiful coda.
Yeah, I have such a sentimental attachment to it, and the sadness of knowing that I had a better version of it in my head. Can't really push it below a C, but the fact that it's so disappointing in almost every way cannot push it higher than a C. So this is the bottom of my C tier.
So I have a D tier here with a special asterisk of, and I'm really not trying to make fun, but that little Spanish flea version where it just cuts off when the hunter gets hit by the bear, and it's like, yeah, the hunter is dead. Copper and Tad are now free from this situation and can run off back to the little old lady. Like, not resolving that, like the ending of, say, Snow White, would have been, in my mind, better than what we got. And I like the movie on that front, because there's a lot in that movie to like. There's a lot of animated joy, there's a lot of fun playing around with the way bodies move. The characters can be charming in their right moments, but yeah, no. Look, I'm defending putting it in the D and not F, alright?
Oh, I thought you were defending putting it in the D, not the C.
No.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say the asterisk is, that's for breaking my wife's heart, stupid movie.
The Black Cauldron.
Here's some more complicated feelings, because I also got attached to this before ever having seen it. But it's, like, for me, it's really in that deserved better category. We talked a lot about this in its episode as well. Should have been great. They fucked it. They totally fumbled it, but there's still so much here that could have been excellent, which ultimately shoved it up into the B tier for me. Fuck. That's Fantasia right next to it. I put Fantasia at B, and I misread Fantasia 2000 when I looked at my tier list. So spoiler for later on, I guess, and Fantasia, I'm sorry I did you dirty.
Yeah, I have Black Cauldron as my first A.
Hey! I'm not surprised, because we feel similarly about it, but you like it even more than I do, I think.
My specific sentiment is that I love what it wants to be.
Yeah.
And I don't hold the fact that it failed against it, especially when you remember that someone physically cut the film apart with scissors.
Yeah, there was, this film was a victim in many ways. It's a real shame.
The Great Mouse Detective.
This is a good fucking movie. This is the top of my B tier.
It's in my A tier.
Hey!
I think that, broadly speaking, I might just be a mark for Vincent Price, but I do think that The Great Mouse Detective is a solid A tier movie in this space. Like, that means it's rubbing shoulders with Black Cauldron, The Great Mouse Detective, and Robin Hood. And again, personal feelings are a big part of this. I like this good at smart, bad at kind Sherlock Holmes stretching the budget in every way. Do you remember that there's a sequence of this movie which is like a minute and a half of just panning over a background with sound effects? The set of pipes as they're bouncing around having a fight with Fidget in there?
Yeah, they had to save some money.
yeah, that is some budget saving.
Yeah, I think we talked about it at the time, but this is probably the best fucking Sherlock Holmes that either of us has ever seen, in that they embraced the fact that he's kind of histrionic and kind of a shit, but they didn't overdo it like modern Sherlocks tend to do, where he's just a genius who is a fucking asshole to everyone at all times.
I will say that since recording that, I have watched a series which I think does the good at smart, bad at kind very well, which is Elementary, where there's this low-key message throughout that whole series of, like, he wants to be nice, he's just dog shit at it.
Good. That's a good Holmes.
Yeah. Oliver and Company.
I wanted to like this so much because it's a dog movie about a hero dog and a bunch of street kids and found family, and I hate it. It's so 80s and so American, and so specifically New York American, and
New York kid!
I even hate Billy Joel Dog in retrospect, and several of the dogs are very questionable caricatures, and the girl dog doesn't get to do anything, and the child looks like all of the Chipettes at once. You were absolutely 100% right, Talon. I have not seen a Disney movie that feels of its time more than this, and it does not age. How does the thing from the 50s age better than this? How does Lady and the Tramp age better than this?
How does Robin Hood from the 70s?
Yeah, so I D-tiered Oliver. I put it right at the bottom of D-tier. I was really mad at it.
It's in my D tier as well, but I would also say that it's one of the easiest D tiers because everything in the C tier, I'm like, oh no, you don't belong here. And in the F tier, I go like, no, you're worse. Like,
Yeah.
Oliver and Company is a bad movie, but it is in the company of equally inadequate movies. It's not dire or upsetting the way that some of the other stuff is.
Yeah.
And now...
Just made me personally very mad at it.
Oh, bad dog movies are an attack on you personally.
Exactly.
The Little Mermaid, 1989.
I was astonished to find that I liked this better now than I did as a child. I A-tiered this, and it's near the top of my A tier. I really like Ariel. I might kind of have a crush on her.
It's my B tier.
Also, a good prince.
Yeah, that's actually the big thing. I really dislike Sebastian. I think that Sebastian is a
Sebastian's a fucking cop.
Well, the big problem that Sebastian has is that he's meant to be an endearing character you're meant to like, but when you look at the whole show, for a start, he's an adult. Like, he is an adult hanging around these characters. He has a job. He's a composer. And so, it's easy for him to be just folded into that friend group, but there's a part of my brain that, on hindsight, is like, no, you're like a 40-year-old dude following these people around and giving terrible advice. Fuck you.
Yeah, no, I think Sebastian is much more the, killjoy nursemaid character who, his heart is in the right place, so you can't dislike him. He's not really supposed to be someone you actively like. That's what Flounder's here for.
Villain, excellent.
Yeah.
Sense of comedic timing, shockingly good.
Songs permanently etched on 90s children's memories.
And once again, surprisingly good prince. Just shockingly good prince. Eric is so much more of a person than I ever expected him to be going in.
Princess Hot, Prince Saves a Dog. A-tier.
Next up, we have The Rescuers Down Under.
Speaking about complicated feelings.
I don't have complicated feelings about this.
See, I do, because this...
Because Rat Hot?
No, because it gets a shitty rap. For coming immediately after Little Mermaid, which turned the tide on what Disney was going to be, right? It totally went, no, we're this now, and we are the best at this. And then the very next thing that came out was, way more like the 80s and 70s Disney of, here's a weird little adventure story.
Yeah.
Fucking sequel out of nowhere. And, I like everything about this.
Really?
That isn't related to its supposed Australianness.
Yeah.
And I hate everything about it that is.
That one moment where you hear on the radio someone say the word mum. It's like a spike through the eye. It's like, oh, that's how bad everyone's American actors. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I am incalculably angry at that movie. There are so many decisions that were made that are made because Americans assumed America is universal, and it took some of the most beautiful parts and most beautiful creatures in my culture in a line of history that reaches back 10,000 years and flew past us in a tourist whistle stop and said, "Isn't it so cultural?"
Yeah, and look, I will forever be trapped between that and wanting to defend the story and the fun and the fact that it's actually a great time as an adventure movie.
They imported a Norwegian to play the child.
I don't care!
The animators almost made it about an Aboriginal kid. Do you
Stop
remember?
It. We've done the episode. It's behind us now. I C-tiered this. Because I can't love it, and I would if it wasn't so fucking stupid about the place I come from.
The Rescuers Down Under isn't real and can't hurt Talon, so he needs to shut up and move on. Beauty and the Beast.
Hold on, you didn't mention where you put it.
Oh, sorry. I and I suppose fairly obviously it's an F tier.
Okay.
Like, it is in the category of this makes me angry. Beauty and the Beast.
Controversial opinion time. This is a C at best.
C.
Yeah. We rehashed this all in the episodes. Sorry. We discussed this all in the episode, so I won't rehash it again, but to me, this is the most overrated Disney movie of all. It's fine.
It's like Snow White. It's technically amazing for the tools they had at the time they had.
It's not even that amazing.
And that's it. That's all I got for it.
It's technically amazing for how much money they didn't spend on it.
Yeah, true.
Like, it's not actually very groundbreaking in most ways, and it looks absolutely fine for what it is, but, like, I mean, to me, this is less beautiful than Lady and the Tramp. I know I keep going back to Lady and the Tramp as a how is this still this good?
Yeah, it's still really good.
But, yeah, I don't... Beauty and the Beast, yeah,
Aladdin!
My brain is molded in the shape of the children this movie affected. It's the top of my A tier.
It's the most racist thing I love.
It's so racist, and I adore both of these super hot main characters. I want to smooch.
I have it as my first B tier. Like, it is the top of the top in the B tier. But then again, my B tier is going to have a lot of Renaissance stuff, which is kind of awkward because of the racism.
The Renaissance really is unfortunate in terms of, like, you definitely knew better by this point.
Yeah.
Why did you not get better?
Yeah.
But notwithstanding the fact that, like, my brain exists in the shape of these movies,
yeah.
I cannot get over that attachment. That is the sentimentality that's, you know, I mean, that's why people get to love Disney as a brand, right? Because there's like 6 movies that deformed them when they were tiny, and now those are the greatest things ever. And the 40 other odd movies that are kind of shit don't matter.
Robin Williams, the first millennial.
Yeah. Dear God, yes. Boy, the genie totally changed the landscape of children's jokes.
The Lion King.
I like this less after our rewatch, but it's still the fucking Lion King. I still made a birthday cake in the shape of Simba's head when I was in year 6. This is still an A-tier movie for me, but in a move which would have been very controversial to year 6 Fox. I put both Little Mermaid and Aladdin ahead of it.
I have it as a B-tier movie, but I would also note that you could drop out the entirety of the plot and just have the musical numbers, and it would be a pretty fucking good movie.
My only problem with it is just that it grates on me now because it's so fucking into monarchies. And this particular monarchy, which is also incredibly Jesus metaphor-y.
And also literally eats the subjects.
Yeah, it's been hard to get past. On the other hand, fuck me, the music in this thing.
Absolutely whips.
Fucking James L. Jones and Jeremy Irons as your adult cast. Fuck.
Be prepared.
They were incredible. Be Prepared is a fantastic song. Hakuna Matata is a great fun time. Can You Feel the Love Tonight? It's a complicated mashup of a comedy number and a Disney love song that is just so weird, it's hard to believe.
Yeah, the Lion King, in the same way that Frozen is being supported by one good song, the Lion King's songs do a lot.
Yeah, they do. They absolutely do.
They call me Mr. Pig. Anyway, Pocahontas.
Okay, well,
I guess I should admit that I put this in the B tier.
That's better than most people would rank it, I think. It's not well loved in retrospect by most people. Except weirdos like me who put it in S tier because, once again, my brain is shaped like this movie. I feel really bad about it because, like, it's got hella issues.
Mm-hmm.
And my absolute adoration of it is extremely, like, it's really good evidence for the fact that this is a movie about Native Americans made for white people, right? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
That's obvious.
Well, this is the thing. Like, Aladdin is incredibly racist.
Yeah.
And if we're able to go, look, Aladdin's racist, but, and we can't go, Pocahontas is racist, but, then what's the fucking difference? Is it because one of them's about women?
It's true.
And, like, the core of why we forgive Aladdin tends to be, it's funny, and it's enjoyable, and Pocahontas is, like, intense. And, it's very weird to say that. It's very white feminist. It's very, I will do better than everyone around me kind of thing. Girl power style. Which isn't, like, I'm not saying, oh, that's a good thing for it to be, but, like, the fact that Aladdin gets away with it and Pocahontas doesn't.
I thought you meant it was a bad thing for it to be, because white feminism is usually the most objectionable kind of feminism.
For 1995.
Well, yeah, and that's why I love it, because in 1995 we were still getting, like, the feminist is fucking Xena with a giant cleavage on display. It's like, you can be cool and do cool stuff, but only if you are, like, wicked sexy and male gazy at the same time. And, well, okay, Pocahontas is ridiculously hot. That's another reason I love this. It's another one on the long list of I was in love with both of these leads.
Yep.
Well, a long list of 4. I get. Look! It's a formative list. That's the important part. But, like, she just is better than her love interest.
Yep.
And she knows it. And she makes it clear. And she asserts that he is not good enough. And he gets better. And that's not a common arc.
It also is one of the best underused memes from any Disney movie.
What that?
Which is the chief emerging from the tent and waving the stick in the air and shouting, "Beware these white people!"
Oh, yeah. This is some all-time good lines. And it's another one where the songs just occupy my brain permanently. I cannot un-S-tier a movie whose songs occupy that much space in my rent-free brain.
As someone who's not even that into it, I still really properly love one of the songs. Don't worry, it's not Savages. I think Savages is a good song. I think it's an enjoyable song to sing, but I can recognize its problems. Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Occasional weird references that made no sense to children at the time. Big fucking surprise. This was my favorite when we went in. This is my favorite coming out. I love every inch of this movie, except for Jason Alexander sucking.
Top of the A tier. I would like the fact the S tier is so the S tier is so hotly contested for me.
Is it really?
So
I would have thought you had maybe 3 movies in S tier.
That's the thing. Yeah, I have 2 movies in the S tier.
Okay.
And Hunchback is sitting there next to it, going, like, ask me to do this list tomorrow, and Hunchback is S tier. All right,
I'll accept that. There is so much of this is just glorious to me. And I think I've mentioned, like, it came out at the perfect time when I was distancing myself from organized religion and realizing I was bisexual. And, God, I can sing almost everyone's parts in this, as long as they're not fucking Tony J, because I don't have a voice from the crypt.
This is in the same way that you could take, like, remember how I said you can take Lion King and drop out the whole movie and just leave the songs and it's still pretty good? This movie, it's as good as its songs. Its songs rule.
Funny you should say this, since long before I got my hands on this on home video, before it was released, I was just listening to the soundtrack on loop.
Yep.
I could sing every word of every song in this, except the ones that are entirely in Latin.
Oh, well, someone didn't learn her choral singing.
Well, I mean, the lyrics were in the CD booklet, so I could have learned them if I'd been really dedicated. I did learn Kyrie eleison.
Yeah.
I know what that means now.
Hercules.
This is my tier list, so I'm allowed to put Hercules in D tier if I want, and I did.
I put it in F tier. You can see... You can see how I had the problem of my F tier was too big at one point, right?
Yeah, I reserved it for just real hate stinkers. And don't get me wrong, Hercules is pushing it.
Hercules had better wipe its feet or it's going down to F tier.
Yeah. You make one wrong move, movie. I hear about one actor in you being a turf. You're out.
Mulan.
I want to like Mulan more than I do. For me, it's another C.
I put it at B.
It's totally fair.
Mm-hmm.
There's more I dislike about it than I like. Mostly Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, I was going to say, this has got that same quality of, like, if you cut a section of the movie, it's better.
It's just a lot of Eddie Murphy. Yeah, but you can't even do that because he's there all the fucking time. He
is plot integral, yeah.
Yeah, I hate Mushu.
And, like, Girl Worth Fighting For. The song itself, not that good. One of the best Disney cuts ever.
Yeah, sure, used for impact good, but I had to sit through Girl Worth Fighting For to get there.
Yeah.
That's my other thing. The music in Milan doesn't do it for me. It has one amazing song, and everything else is ugh.
Yeah, hell of a song though. Here we go. Let's get a contentious one out there. Tarzan.
Yeah. You go first on this one, Talon. You go first.
I put Tarzan in the B tier.
Oh my god, so did I!
And I would put it in the A tier if I could get a version
Without
Phil Collins on the soundtrack.
Absolutely.
This movie is so much better than its soundtrack. It is jaw-dropping.
I kept umming and ahhing about where to put this. Like, objectively, it's not a very good movie on the sum of it.
No.
Because Phil Collins has such an upsetting impact on it. But if he just wasn't there, I would love this so much. The animation is gorgeous. Once again, bisexual Fox is very interested in these two incredibly attractive leads. I don't even hate the animal sidekicks that much. Not even the one that's like Baby Ross from Friends.
Yeah.
None of them could ruin this for me, but Phil Collins could.
Yeah.
It's a damn shame.
And knowing what I know about the technical side of it now, that software still sounds like fucking witchcraft.
It does a bit, yeah. Also,
and they had it in 1999. Well, no, they had it in 1997 when they were working on this movie.
I'm also kind of impressed by how much less racist this is than you would expect.
Yeah.
From like, the source material is incredibly racist.
This
is only... It barely even brushes into that unless you sort of know and pay attention to the backstory. Like, I had to be reminded that Tarzan was a white guy. Like, oh shit. Yeah, I guess he is.
Well, in this, there's the implication that he's not properly white.
Oh, really?
Which is another thing. It's just a designer's note from the script about the storyboarding of his parents, which is to say that they're not meant to fit in. Like, there's a reason they're running away.
Oh, wow. That'd be nice.
But, like, I think at some point someone was imagining, what if it was a biracial couple in the 1890s? And, like, yeah, that would be absolutely a reason to flee around the Cape. But, you know.
Let's not be in England right now.
But, don't know. Still, that movie is so much better than I thought it was, and Phil Collins makes everything he touches worse.
Yep.
Fantasia 2000.
This is the one that I accidentally said. This is the one that made me accidentally say I'd put original Fantasia in D tier, because Fantasia 2000 is not good. It's a bummer, but it lacks the sort of charm and sincerity of the original. It's much more smug.
Yeah. F tier.
Yeah, honestly, that's fair. Like, I D-tiered it only because a lot of the animation is still fairly nice and pleasant.
I'm trying to think about what's the best segment in Fantasia 2000.
Oh, the spirit one with the volcano and the regrowth.
Yeah.
Definitely. It's like the only really beautiful one. The Sky Whales are okay, but the CG does not age well.
And it's still got the Sorcerer's fucking Apprentice in it.
It's got Sorcerer's Apprentice in it again, our least favourite part of the first Fantasia.
How does Pomp and Circumstance?
I
Yeah.
wonder if we were really, really American about this.
Really American, really Protestant, and really imperial.
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
just the worst mix.
And also means it has twice the number of segments based on the Disney characters I like least, which are the timeless image characters, Donald, Mickey, etc. Like, I hate them all. I don't want... This is why Kingdom Hearts pisses me off. Moving on!
Speaking of the year 2000, Dinosaur!
Dinosaur is some F-tier shit.
I have it in my D tier.
I suppose I broke my own rules by putting it here because it didn't necessarily make me angry, but it's just so unlikable in almost every way. It manages to look incredibly boring, despite being groundbreaking technology.
The plot is basic as shit.
The characters have no personalities.
It has a sex monkey it doesn't need.
It has a sex monkey it doesn't need.
It has two little old lady grandmas who are just there to enable the story of the protagonists, and don't do that.
The only thing I really liked about it was the one dinosaur who was a dog, basically.
Frank,
but yeah, alright.
It's Frank Welker.
Frank Ankylosaurus Welker.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I couldn't... Nah.
The Ankylosaurus is why it's in the tier it's in. Like, my F tier has some absolute dog shit. Like, I don't think if you look at my F tier in aggregate, you'll go, that's a better movie than Dinosaur.
I will say it's at the top of my F tier.
Yeah.
For being the least offensive of things I chose to put in F.
Still in the year 2000, The Emperor's New Groove.
God, so many movies came out this year, none of them good.
Three Disney movies.
It's almost like they shouldn't have tried to get 3 out in the one year.
And one of them was The Emperor's New Groove.
It was. I'm just looking for it because I can't find it. Right, it's pretty much wallowing in the middle of my D tier.
Same.
This is another one that's going to be controversial because, like, the done thing now is to, like, really appreciate Kronk and Yzma and act like they can save the whole fucking movie, but they
really
can't.
can't.
They really can't. It is a dreadful movie. Sorry. I love those two as well. They're very funny. They set some new standards for humor in these movies, but that doesn't change the fact that they are villains who don't get a lot of screen time in this movie, which is otherwise about two unlikable twats.
Kuzco learns no lesson and changes nothing as a character. He is still incredibly self-centered, and we have no reason to believe he isn't. They fuck up the title. The title is a failure.
Oh, and they put fucking Tom Jones in it.
Yeah.
Get out. Get out of here, Tom Jones. You're not better than Phil Collins. Don't think you are.
I do think that the Emperor's New Groove episode is one of the best podcast episodes to listen to, because watching your reaction to the shit show of how that got made was amazing.
You kept, like, peeling back new layers of awful, and I'm just sitting there horrified thinking, surely you have reduced this onion as small as it can go.
Next up, Atlantis, the Lost Empire.
This is probably also going to be one you'll rank higher than me.
Probably not.
Wanted to like it more than a D tier. Still don't.
Oh, okay. No, fair enough. I do rank it as a C tier.
Yeah, see, it's got all the problems we've talked about before, but also every time I see it, I like Milo less.
Fair.
Like, he seemed like kind of a fun, awkward nerd guy the first time I saw it, and upon reflection, he seems like a swaggering dickhole. I don't like him at all.
He is a fanfiction self-insert for a male author into Mononoke Hime.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, he sucks. I have Atlantis as a C tier because I'm a sucker for the sub. And the skeleton getting bolted. And also just, like, the villain's evil and savagery and the way he goes down. Like, he fucking deserves it.
The villain was good and fun. I'll grant him that. On the other hand, shit at women.
Absolutely terrible.
We had two pretty amazing women in the... Wait, no, we had three pretty amazing women in this movie. I'm not going to call the radio operator amazing. She's
Fair enough.
Whatever.
Fair enough.
She's fun at best. But I had particularly high hopes for Princess Kida and for a woman whose name I can't remember, who is the off-sided to our villain, and one of them gets killed for not being evil enough. And one of them just goes into glowy eye trance and gets to do nothing for the entire climax of the movie, and it fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Stupid and awful. And also, I can't get past the fucking stupid-ass setup for, like, I didn't see it until our rewatch of this movie, but the whole premise of we lost our culture is absurd, because the people were alive back then who are alive now. How did you lose stuff in living memory? How did you do that?
The only thing keeping this thing in C tier is that my D tier is overstuffed.
I think I'd cross it, Atlantis, for disappointing me more on the rewatch.
I think you're right. I expected to be negotiated around on some of these things. I do think you're right. It's a lot worse than I remember.
Look, man. I'll trade you that for my Pinocchio. Clearly should have been in F tier.
Yeah. Lilo and Stitch. S tier.
I have to agree. I would not have S-tiered Lilo and Stitch previously. It's too weird and too Elvis-y and too cartoon alien spaceship-y.
It's extremely weird.
I just love it now. Every time I watch it, I love the realism of the relationship between our two human leads so fucking much. It's nothing like... I mean, I've watched all of these now. There is no Disney movie that does a raw human relationship like between those two, and it's amazing to see it on screen in a Disney movie. And how much you love it has made me love it more.
I look forward to when you watch it again and you see the explosions and get to go, oh god, that was hand animated.
And also, you know, as far as lasting mascot potential goes, Stitch is
peerless.
Phenomenal. Oh god, fuck off Mickey and Donald. Make Stitch the Disney image character forever. Stitch!
Treasure Planet.
A-tier Treasure Planet.
I have Treasure Planet hovering at the... in all honesty, Treasure Planet is in my C tier, but no complaint or objection to putting it in the A tier either.
There's so much stuff in it that's not good and I don't like, and if I didn't like the movie overall, I would be like, what the hell? But I cannot get over how much I like the emotional core of Jim and Silver.
I mean, even now, like, that's the whole thing of, like, you would review your own choice and you'll hang on a second, like, no, this definitely doesn't belong in the C tier for me. It easily belongs in my B tier. I think the reason I didn't do that is because that would put it squarely next to Aladdin and one that's going to come up later.
Yeah, see, I had that reaction to it when I try and think about it objectively. Like, objectively, there's no way this movie belongs on the same tier as Little Mermaid and Aladdin and The Lion King. But I like it as much as I like those movies now because I just enjoy that dynamic so damn much. And because Jim Hawkins is incredibly cute.
Yep.
I love a pouty boy with a ponytail. And that's all there is to it.
So really, much like Lilo and Stitch, I am part of why you like it.
Also, I have a crush on his mum.
Yeah, she is so ridiculously... Brother Bear!
I'm not about this one. It yo-yoed through the tears. It looks so much better than it is.
Yeah.
And it sounds so much worse than it is.
Yes!
In the end, it bounced up to C tier. A little bit below Beauty and the Beast for me, because I don't like it, but I like a lot of bits of it. I like looking at it.
D tier.
But it's not good.
Sorry.
And fucking Phil Collins is here again.
Whereas for me, D tier.
Yeah. No, that's totally fair.
But the things in it that are good, it are fucking amazing. Like, it has beautiful background art. The switch from 3:4 to widescreen to represent the narrow view of how men see the world and the greater view of nature, genuinely great. The way they handled the narrator's native language, fucking perfect. Maybe do that with the rest of the native cast. Oh, wait, no, you can't, because there aren't any.
Yeah, no, you mostly hired, like, black Americans.
Yeah.
Which,
No, they didn't hire black Americans.
Tried a little bit, I guess.
The main character's Joaquin Phoenix.
Okay, at least the little kid bear is a black kid, right?
I don't think so.
Fuck.
I don't know.
I was thinking better of this film than it deserved.
Ving Rhames is the black bear.
Yeah, there's a couple of giant big black dude voice actors who we had a wealth of for a while there.
Yeah, no, there are more Jewish actors in that.
Okay. Well, I was going to make fun of them for doing the whole, any minority, right?
There are more Australian actors in Brother Bear.
They didn't even do that, which is very embarrassing for them. Also, I'm really disappointed in it for not sticking it with the emotional core the way that more questionable, this is not so different from Tarzan and Treasure Planet in that there are things about it that are just annoying and bad, but they keep it together in the shit that matters most to me, and that's where Brother Bear fucks it up. Like, all the pieces are there. The relationship between these brothers could really work like that, but they're so just kind of surface level toxic masculine that it's just irritating, and I don't really come to like any of them.
Home on the Range.
This is F tier shit.
Hard F.
Yeah, get out of here.
Chicken Little.
This is my worst ranked Disney Animated Canon movie.
This is why I stopped while we were doing this and had this conversation of like, hey, are we happy with the tier list as it is? Because I wanted to know if I could dig down under F.
That's exactly what I was looking at when I responded with, the only thing I would change is maybe have a tier below F for the worst of the worst.
Yeah. Like, the whole thing of like, looking at movies and going, you don't belong with this company, so I pushed you up or push you down. Chicken Little is so bad that I can think of 2 other movies I might put in the same tier of awfulness as it.
There is not a single element of Chicken Little that works. I think our takeaway was that Fish Out of Water
Fish Out of Water is blameless and deserves no scorn.
But otherwise, the moral of this doesn't work, the look of this doesn't work, the plot of this is a fucking mess, The musical choices are, like, occasionally good, but mostly just rote.
Oh, yeah. It's got Bare Naked Ladies in the soundtrack.
It's got, like, fucking Bare Naked Ladies and Matchbox 20, doesn't it? But then they do hack shit like, oh, I wonder if they'll play End of the World as We Know It. Oh, there it is!
Yep.
Like, and, of course, the incredibly upsetting use of the child villain, who does not perform conventional femininity and is punished for that by being brainwiped.
Conversion therapy. For kids. Fuck this movie.
It's not a good Disney movie, it's not a good movie, it's not funny, it's not clever, it's not sentimental. It is just awful.
Vile shit.
Get out of here.
And the thing is, the next movie has to be better. But it's Meet the Robinsons.
Yeah, it's not a lot better.
So it's not much better.
That's real F-tier shit. I put it... It's 2 places ahead of Chicken Little. What might be in between them, you wonder? I think Talon knows.
Anyway, Bolt.
Dog movie!
Dog movie!
This has problems. Feels incredibly of its time. Very shallow and, poppy in a way that Disney stuff used to aspire to not be. But, considering the shit we've seen lately, I cannot help but have good feelings towards Bolt. I put it in B tier.
I have Bolt at A tier.
Ooh.
Yep. The moment where Bolt crawls under her arm and does the super bark, I went and hugged our dog.
Good dog movie should make me cry a little bit.
Yeah. No, that Bolt is so much better than the other movies and of its season, and also just functionally, all the stuff in Bolt works. Mm-hmm. And when Bolt is taking shots at someone, it's taking its shots at auteur vision film opinion havers. So, like I said in the thing, this guy is making what he thinks of as the right vision for his work, and all of these people, like key grips and safety managers and OH&S people, are just in the way. And this is what that results in.
Yeah, get out of my way. Let me continue to torture a child and a dog for my art.
Yeah.
Also, Rhino is excellent.
Rhino rules.
I just remembered how much we enjoyed Rhino.
I can't believe they made a fat comedy relief character and made both of us go, this guy rules!
He's fucking great.
Last season, Princess and the Frog.
God, are we there already?
Yep. This is where the really angry shit kicks in.
I beat Princess and the Frog in the end. This might be the one where I most betrayed my objectivity versus personal opinion principle, because I don't love watching it that much, but I think it deserves better than it got, and I feel bad for it.
I have it in my A tier.
That's fair. I don't like that the moral kind of breaks.
Oh, the moral sucks.
Because Tiana is just a better person.
Yeah. The moral's bad. The moral framework is bad. The acceptance of Big Daddy is bad.
Yeah.
The appreciation of royalty and monarchy as non-transferable tokens are bad. Oprah's mum is a fucking shithead. Mama Odie sucks ass. And the thing about saying you're in love with a woman who's never talked to you also sucks. I don't care if the Firefly dies. But Dr. Facilier is such a good villain.
Yeah.
And this is traditional animation at the height of its power.
That's another reason that I think it deserves better than it got. Like, it is... I just wish they'd gone back to it forever, right? I love traditional animation.
I know what you mean.
I don't want it to end like this. Yeah, so, I don't know. It is what it is. It definitely deserved better than box office results let it feel.
Tangled.
Surprised to find out how much I like Tangled more and more. I A-tiered Tangled.
I S-tier.
Ooh!
It's my only other S-tier.
I did not expect that one to make it into S-tier for you. That's cool.
I really like Rapunzel.
I really like Eugene.
The manic combination of energies when she comes down out of the tower.
She's very cute.
The absolutely peerless, abusive mother of Gothel.
Yeah, that's true. She's got child abuse on lock in a way we have not seen since Frollo.
Basically, I'm of the opinion that if a lot of these movies are about men competing with men for things men think they're entitled to. This is Tangled is where Disney made a movie about women relating to women and the way women do violence to women. And it's got songs I like. It's got the first sidekick who fucking kills someone. It has one of the best and most dramatic attempts at a heroic sacrifice. It's just so good.
It also looks better than any 3D movie they made before or since. Like, this is, I think, where they peaked, because they were still trying to make it look like a little bit painted, a little bit storybooky. The ones after this are just cartoon characters rendered as 3D models walking around with realistic hair and realistic fur in realistic landscapes, and it's just not as good. It's just not as good. There's like subtle texturing and lighting at work that makes Tangled look better to me.
Yeah, do you remember why?
Yeah.
Because the entire 2D animation staff was sitting on the sidelines going, here's how we make this scene look better. Move those lights.
And that's how they could have met, like, this, I've not seen a 3D movie that I think looks better than this until Spider-Verse happened. And Spider-Verse has almost the same idea behind it. I would S-tier Tangled if I liked the songs better. Yeah. That's the big letdown for me. I just... if you took the worst half of them and made them into the best half, I think I would really like this. Like, forever gold like this. Mm-hmm. It's just not quite there for me.
My big regret now is that I don't have Hunchback on equal level with it. I love both of those movies so much, it's very hard for me to say, in all honesty, that Hunchback should be on a lower tier.
A-tiered Hunchback.
I A-tiered Hunchback. I S-tiered Tangle. And I will say, give her fucking freckles, you cowards.
Yes, that was the other thing I was going to say, actually. I am still pissed off that her freckles aren't visible.
Winnie the Pooh.
Goes... We already did this one, Talon. It goes in the F tier because it's boring and nothing happens and it's for preschoolers.
And it's the reason why we should have a not appearing in this tier list.
We should have used the haven't seen tier for, like, did I see this? I don't remember because it was brain chloroform.
Yep. Wreck-It Ralph.
This shit goes in F.
D.
I thought about putting it higher, but this was the Canonball was the second time I'd seen it, and I was a lot angrier at Ralph and a lot angrier at Felix.
Yeah, it's a worse movie than almost everything in the D tier I have, but the reason I put it in D instead of in F is because you can take things away from Wreck-It Ralph and get a movie that interests me.
You know what? Also, the not given away up front cut of Tangled.
Yeah.
I would S-tier that shit.
Yes, S-tier with the missing 15 minutes to start.
That would be amazing.
Yeah. But yeah, Wreck-It Ralph, if you could cut away Ralph's entire narrative and just focus on the Sugar Rush story, I think that's interesting. I think that Sugar Rush is the best reveal as well. Yeah.
It's way too good for this movie. Absolutely.
So that's why it's in D tier and not in fuck off tier. Frozen! Here we go! Where is it? Where's your Frozen?
Okay, this is the one we should do on 3. Ready?
1, 2, 3, B.
Yeah! Give me a pound.
Yeah, this movie is one really good song. And it'll be fine.
It's a good song, and a good twist, and a bunch of characters who are just, like, medium good all the way through. Mm-hmm. I don't hate or even really dislike anyone. I don't even dislike Olaf until Frozen 2.
Yeah.
But I don't love anyone. Mm-hmm. I find the cynicism a little grating, and the fact that it makes jokes about the Disney formula to be insufferable. And one incredible banger of a song is not enough to make it a top tier movie. And by that, of course, I mean Split the Ice Apart, the best song in Frozen.
It's a good song, though.
It's a good song, yeah. We should stop saying one amazing song, because, like, that is a properly good opening number. Love it.
Big Hero 6.
I'm gonna get so much shit for ranking Big Hero 6.
It's better than Frozen. Yeah,
Yeah!
same. I just like it better.
This, well, it feels sincere to me in a way that Frozen doesn't. I know we're all just making comic book hero movies for marketing purposes. I don't think this actually is better art or anything, but it has a lot of heart. Probably Stan Lee's heart, I'm guessing. That's how these things tend to go.
I also chatted with some friends about it recently, and I was told that wasabi comes across, like, very genuine. Like, as in, a couple of my friends.
Ah, so he does read as neurodivergent.
I spoke to my black friends. No, but I did speak to some friends who are black, who did mention, yeah, no, he just comes across as being neurodivergent. It's not like some... It doesn't read like they're making fun of him.
I had that instinct with him, but because I don't have any direct experience, it was hard for me to tell, so it's nice to hear that.
There is a lengthy discourse on blurred markers.
Yeah.
Zootopia!
I struggled with this one a little bit too, because this is... this is mostly all we spoke about in the episode. This is a great movie that ages very poorly.
Mm-hmm.
Propaganda becoming a worse and worse idea by the fucking minute. I put it in B tier in the end.
I put it in D.
But if you ask me next week, it's probably going to be lower. If you ask me next year, it's probably going to be D. I'm so torn on it, and I don't feel like I should penalize it more harshly for its problematic bullshit than I did things like Pocahontas, or Dumbo, but I also don't love it the way that I love those movies. Like, once again, it's fine. These characters are good, they're fun, I'm having a good time, I don't dislike anyone, but I also don't love anyone.
Here's my thinking. Zootopia is like Brother Bear. The things it does well, which in this case are background, and some stuff about the framing device, are really quite good and beautiful. But is the story it tells anything I give a shit about?
Well, I kind of do. Even the metaphors are like half and half. Like, Judy's metaphor works, and Nick's metaphor really doesn't. Oh, well, the general predator metaphor really doesn't.
Anthros are a messy thing that Disney doesn't handle well.
And they're too animal to be sexy. Like, they're not human enough anthros to be, like, hot, sexy anthros.
Moving on. Moana.
I put this in S tier. I kind of surprised myself, but every time I tried to justify putting it lower, I couldn't feel like it deserved anything less than an S. It's a really good movie, and I don't know, unlike the rest of my S tier stuff, there's no one I find ridiculously hot or anything, but I just keep thinking back to the climax and the resolution and the through line, of the typical princess narrative and how it plays out in Moana, and I can't think that it's anything more than a strict improvement on the formula.
It's weird. I have it in my C tier.
Ooh.
But I don't know why.
That's a huge surprise. Yeah.
Yeah, like, I think this is what happens, is that I started with that bloated F tier, and I just started throwing stuff up out of it, so it might be in the C tier as a relic of when almost everything was F.
So at that time, this seemed like a really good rank. Well, I did not expect that from you.
I think that's just a mistake on my part. Like, I like it more than that. I could definitely imagine, arguing between A or B for me.
What is it in company with?
It's next to Frozen 2 and Dumbo.
Oh, you definitely like it better than either of those.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I'm just going to attribute this to a mistake, and the final cut will almost certainly show it where it should be. Shrug.
You know what? That's probably what pushes it over the edge, because also the music is just fucking banging in this movie.
Yep.
This is a great soundtrack. This is the best Disney musical in fucking ages.
Yeah. And, like, you might well... Just as an example, what's the worst song in Moana? It's Shiny, isn't it?
Shiny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I fucking love Shiny.
That's a good song.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah. See, that's a good experiment. It's actually harder to answer that than for any of the Disney movies I like better than this. Like, worst song in Hunchback? Easy. Worst song in Robin Hood? Easy. Worst song in Pocahontas? Slightly harder.
It's probably Gold, right?
Mine?
Yeah.
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 Probably. But that's still so much fun to sing.
And I love it, yeah. But then I tend to like the songs that you think are dog shit.
Well, we can both agree a guy like you has no place.
Yep. Ralph breaks the internet.
This is the only thing I rated worse than Meet the Robinsons, but better than Chicken Little.
Yeah, this movie is dire.
I almost wanted to rank it better because it does have something original Wreck-It Ralph didn't have, which is an incredibly fucking hot car thief. But
what's her name? The gun lady was also really attractive at the start of Ralph, but
she's more of a complete parody, though.
Fair.
Like, she's kind of hot, but she's also nothing but a mockery of action women. Whereas, what's her fucking name? Doesn't bode well that I can't remember anyone's name. Which, I guess, the point is, she's just hot and awesome. She's not actually a compelling character.
Oh, no.
I do like how fucking nice she is, which is great. But yeah, she, one hot character cannot save, the fucking offensively stupid boomer-ass.
Yeah, it's extremely boomer.
It's awful. It's not a good representation of the internet. It's not a good story. Ralph is a worse person than ever. The fucking modern-day Disney princess shit is cynical and awful.
They cannot imagine themselves happy.
But the movie mocks the idea of them being unhappy.
Mm-hmm.
If I want illustrations of Disney princesses in cool sleepover wear and casual gear, I have the internet and a plethora of fan arts for that. I don't need Disney's cynical bullshit.
Frozen 2.
Oh, we're not done. Yeah, Frozen 2, I C-tiered. It's definitely not as good as the original.
Yeah.
It's not offensively bad.
It's Beauty and the Beast good.
I almost feel like I should rank it worse based on that, because I do still find the plot pretty incoherent and the pacing very weird, and the success markers of the plot, like the finding the spirits one by one, but they don't feel like sort of equal ideas to each other, which makes me feel like they were just sort of retrofitted afterwards and like, this is the wind spirit, why not, that's fine. It feels really fucking messy.
The point it wants to make is that reparations is a thing that we should be fucking doing.
Yeah, you know what, I guess it deserves well enough for at least trying to do that.
And do the next right thing as an anthem for anxiety.
I do like that a lot.
That's why it's in my C spot. That's why it's standing next to Beauty and the Beast. And I guess the two of them will have to console themselves with merely having made millions, if not billions of dollars.
I'm sure our harsh judgment will totally destroy their self-esteem.
Here we go. Homestretch. Raya and the Last Dragon.
Where did I even put this in the end?
I'll go first then. A tier.
Looks like I B-tiered it.
It's a little badly structured. It's a little bit of a mess. But I like the characters a lot.
I enjoyed it a lot. It doesn't stick with me in the way that my sort of true classics tier does. But, I don't know, maybe if it had hit me at a different time, it would have. You know what? If it had been a musical, it probably would have.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably what's missing from Raya for me.
Cast is people of colour. A sincere attempt was made, as it were. Which is funny now, because in hindsight, really, what I like is the dynamic between the protagonist and her rival, and the fact that they both have, totally rad, cool pet mounts. Because, there's a lot of that movie to complain about, but I still put it in the A tier.
There's some pretty sick fantasy shit going on here.
I hope this isn't my brain going, you've got to put something recent in the A tier, otherwise you're going to look like just the worst.
Nah.
Anyway,
about Encanto.
Yeah, Encanto? What you got?
Where the fuck did I put it? I can't even see it on here. Alright. Encanto... Even as I say this, I'm not really feeling it. I put it in C, but I feel like I should have put it in D.
F.
Yeah. You felt more strongly about this than I did.
I hate Encanto. And that's okay, because that's just my opinion of the thing. It does not say anything about the overall quality of the movie.
I think it's easier for me to take it as it intends to be taken. And most of what I marked it down for was, once again, the pacing is weird as shit.
Yeah.
I remember we got to the climax of this movie, and I thought we were just starting the third act.
No, you see, you You apologize to your abusers, and that solves everything.
That's also apparently. Well, as long as they accept some responsibility too, in a way that doesn't involve apologizing.
Yeah, they don't have to apologize. Oh,
No.
no, why would they need to do that?
They have to acknowledge that they may have contributed to the problem, but not actually apologize or offer to, mend anything. Yeah, I don't know how I put this in C in the end.
You like the himbo a lot, don't you?
I do like the himbo a lot, and the music is mostly banging.
Yep.
But I don't know. I think I'm trying too hard to give it credit because I don't want to watch it again.
No.
It shouldn't be in C if I don't want to see the movie again. Surely.
Do you want to listen to the songs again?
I want to see a better version of this movie. I want that. I want a movie that's got a lot more Bruno and a lot more of her and her sisters sorting their shit out. That was what worked. I liked them.
Piss off, ghosts.
Much didn't like anyone else in it. Or the extended family. I kind of want to punch them.
And that's that. That's the entirety of the Disney Animated Canon. Ranked.
Yeah. Do you like it? Do you agree? Do you disagree? We don't care, because these are our opinions, and your opinions are yours.
Though, you should definitely comment about it for the sake of the algorithm.
Oh yes, drive engagement.
And
post your tier list in the replies, which we will not look at, because we don't need to argue with your opinions.
I'll probably look.
There you go, Talon will probably look.
I plan on driving engagement like I stole it.
Let's floor it! We're gonna take this thing out to the pier and set it on fire!